Today we're going to be tackling one of the biggest questions that people have when moving to the city of Seattle, and that is this: what is the true cost of living here, and is it worth it? Seattle is famous for its tech sector here. We have natural beauty. It's a coffee lover's dream. It's a food paradise, but it's no secret that it is not cheap to live here. In this video, I'll break down the real cost of living here. We're going to talk about the price of housing. We're going to talk about the price of food. We're going to look at transportation, taxes, and more. Plus, we're going to look at the price of Seattle neighborhoods versus the East Side communities. And we're even going to look at some of the more rural communities that could save you thousands of dollars. Are you ready for this? Let's dive in. Let's kick things off by looking at the price of housing. It's no secret that housing is going to be your biggest price tag to live here, but I think you're going to be surprised that Seattle is actually the more affordable option than some of the surrounding neighborhoods here. For example, the median price of Seattle for a home right now will cost you between $950,000 to $1.1 million, depending on the type of neighborhood that you live in. If you live in Ballard and West Seattle, those are some of the more affordable options. But if you live in Queen Anne or Green Lake, those are going to cost you a bit more. So what are you going to do if you can't afford a house? Well, you're going to rent. And for renters, a one-bedroom house in a trendy neighborhood is going to set you back about $2,400 to $3,000 a month, depending on where you choose to live. So let's talk about the East Side neighborhoods. Now, when I say East Side, I'm talking about the suburbs. So we're looking at Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, Issaquah, Bothell, Woodinville, and more. Now, the average home price in those communities is going to run you between $1.5 million to $1.8 million and more, depending on where you choose to live. Now, those are averages that I just quoted you. Now, if you like the glitz and the glamour, obviously you're going to be paying more. And the reason for that is that people love the award-winning schools in those communities, so they're willing to pay more, and they're often closer to the tech sector so they can get an easy commute to work. So how do you choose which neighborhood to live in? Do you live in Seattle or do you live in the East Side in the suburbs? Well, it boils down to lifestyle. Do you want that walkability? Do you want that urban feel? Do you like having that neighborhood-centric vibe? Well, then Seattle might be for you. But if you're looking for bigger homes, quieter streets, larger lot sizes, great schools, then the East Side might be just for you. Now, having lived here in this region for over 30 years, both in the suburbs and in Seattle, I've seen the real estate market ebb and flow. In terms of appreciation rates, Seattle skyrockets, the East Side skyrockets, and right now we're very much in a trend towards the East Side, especially post-COVID, but I predict that Seattle will catch up soon with the appreciation rates of the East Side, simply because of affordability and because post-COVID now people are tired of traffic and employers are sending their people back to work, and there's lots of people that just don't want long commute times. It's no secret that Seattle has some pretty bad traffic, and so people are starting to look for the convenience in things. Next on the list, we have to look at the cost of transportation, and Seattle has been stepping up its game in this regard in recent years. There's light rail all over the city, and now it's starting to come to the East Side, which is making it a commuter's dream. Now, a monthly pass for the light rail or the Metro bus is going to cost you around $99 a month, and that definitely beats the cost of owning a car. But let's be real, most people here still want to drive their car. So gas prices, let's talk about that. Gas prices are sitting at about $5 a gallon. I'm guessing that you're going to be around $200 to $300 a month in gas prices, depending on the car that you own. You should also consider parking. If you're commuting to downtown Seattle, parking is going to cost you around $200 to $300 a month. But if you live in walkable communities that are close to the tech sector, like Capitol Hill, South Lake Union, you really don't need a car. You can rely on the transportation system, and it honestly is pretty quick, and I think it's going to be a far better experience than a vehicle. But for those of you that are going to drive your car from the outlying neighborhoods or communities, you can expect to hit some traffic on I-90, 405, and 520, but you know what? You got time for that audiobook? You got time for that podcast? So you'll be all right. right? So cue up that audiobook and that podcast and just do what you need to do to get the quality of life that you need. My name is Matthew Chapman, and I help buyers and sellers every day find their perfect home in this region. It's my joy, it's my honor to be able to help you. So whether you're moving from out of state or you're relocating to this region, my team and I would love to assist you and just talk about what your next right move might be. So don't hesitate to reach out. Just text the number below and we will be in touch. Next up, we have to talk about the cost of food here in Seattle. The food scene here is incredible, but it is pricey, and groceries here in this market are going to cost you around 10 to 15% more than the national average. A latte here is going to cost you around $6 a latte. If you're looking to go out for a meal, just a table of two at a normal casual restaurant, you're going to be paying $60 to $80 for the two of you at that meal. If you go to the grocery store, a gallon of milk is going to cost you around $4.50. Eggs are going to cost you around $4 to $5 a dozen, and a loaf of bread is going to run you around $4. So one tip I have, if you want to save a little bit of money on the food scene besides going to Costco, is go to the farmers markets. The farmers markets, it's actually fresher and healthier for you, and it's going to save you a few bucks, and you're doing some local good to the farmers. Next up, we're going to look at the cost of taxes. And I got some good news for you here, people. The cost of taxes here, there is no state income tax in the state of Washington. That's right, you're going to be saving a lot of money, especially if you're moving from places like California or New York. I get clients that call me all the time that are moving from San Francisco or New York and that are saying, guess what, we're moving here. One of the big reasons is because we're saving thousands of dollars on taxes because your community, your state has no state income tax. That being said, you should know that property taxes and sales tax are a little bit on the higher side than the national average. For example, the sales tax here is going to run you about 10.25%. So something to be aware of, but I think you're actually going to save more money because of the no state income tax, especially if you're coming from those areas. So we've just talked about the cost of living in Seattle and this region. And if that feels out of reach for you, I just want to touch on some of the more affordable outlying areas that you might want to consider. Areas like Renton, it's just 20 minutes away from Seattle with home prices averaging $750,000. Or you can go up north to Everett, where homes are going to cost you around $200,000 to $300,000 less. The other option that you might want to consider is some more rural communities like Duval and Carnation, and that's going to give you a lot of savings, $300,000 to $400,000 on home prices compared to the east side communities, and it's got a unique charm that some people really love, and you're going to get more land in those communities. So what's the takeaway? Well, let me tell you, it's expensive to live here. We just went through the cost, but there's a reason for that price tag. I recently had a friend visit me from California, and he could not believe the sheer beauty that he saw here. He has traveled around the world, and he said, this is one of the most beautiful places I have seen. And that is why people move to this region, because of the beauty, and not to mention the opportunities in the tech sector are bringing you wealth and great income opportunities here. And that's why people choose to live. Come check it out. I think you're going to love it. I love my city. I'm passionate about this place, and I hope that you fall in love and move here too. So if you're considering a move to Seattle, remember, no state income tax. It's one of the most beautiful places to live on the planet. It's got a thriving job economy. There's opportunities galore. So hit me up, message me if you have more questions about this area. I would love to meet you in person and share my city with you and what I love about it, and take you around all the neighborhoods and help you discern what your next right move is for you. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so that you get notified of any future content. You could follow me on Instagram for more up-to-speed information on what's happening in the real estate market here. I'm Matthew Chapman, and I'll see you next time.